What's up, guys? This is Jorge Gonzalez with Top Bin 90, episode 33 of the Top Bin 90 podcast. I have to my left my co-host, Mr. Brian, Bam Hour Media. How are you today?
Rocking and rolling, baby. Here we go.
Nice. And we also have a big Chelsea fan, Mr. David Palma. How are you today?
Yes, doing good. You know, it's always a privilege and an honor to be with you guys.
Nice. Awesome. How excited are you to see Chelsea
Man,
here?
I love it. It's great. I've never missed a game here in Charlotte. Every time they come around, I'm always here. So, you know,
Dude, they've played Charlotte FC. They come like every year now.
it's almost like a curse when they come here. They can't win, except for like in 2014 when they paid PSG. That's the last time I remember Chelsea getting a dub here. But other than that, it's been great. I'll come here. I'll support them no matter what.
Nice, awesome. Let's talk a little bit about the Club World Cup then. This is the first time, that we've had a tournament of this magnitude here in Charlotte, right? Well, obviously last year we had Copa America, but, we're actually getting to see, the world. Real Madrid is actually playing a competitive match here in Charlotte. We've seen Benfica, Bayern Munich, and now we're going to see Chelsea, Benfica, and then Monday, Inter Milan, Fluminense, or Flamengo, Fluminense, right?
Yeah, Fluminense,
Awesome.
yeah.
So talk to me about, I'll start off with you, David, that caliber of soccer here in Charlotte.
It's just amazing to see here in the city of Charlotte because, seeing MLS grow inside the city of Charlotte has been amazing. But now getting that global exposure, having a common ground for, teams like Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich to play against each other on a common ground, that you don't see that. Usually, when you see them play against each other, it's one away, they play at home, then they play at home again. You know what I mean? Away and at home. But here, it's a common ground. There's no, complaints. There's, home field advantage. No, it's 50-50. They go at it. It's global exposure. People can come see their teams that maybe never thought that they would be able to get to see. It's awesome. I love it.
And it feels way different than a friendly, right? I feel like it's similar to how Uruguay and the Colombia game was in the semifinal during the Copa America, where it was just the fans were lively. It wasn't like a friendly. The supporter sections are out. There's supporters, there's drums, there's chanting, all of that is there, and I feel like I haven't seen that from a competitive standpoint with Real Madrid and Chelsea and all these big clubs before it. 72,000 fans as well. I think it was a huge showing. I was really impressed by that last weekend.
And it's also really hot.
Yeah,
We've been at a couple games now, and the heat has really, I don't think it's been this hot in Charlotte. Maybe it's because we're not used to being at the stadium during this time. Well, in MLS matches, but it just feels unbearably hot recently.
I think year one, there was games where we played 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and it was hot, man. If you were in that supporter section, you were dying. But, I mean, it's like that for everybody, and I was actually watching a couple shows earlier. It's we're used to it. This heat, we're used to it. The players in Europe, maybe not. You get used to where you play at, but, I mean, it's 50-50 for everyone, so it's good exposure, and I think it's a good challenge for everybody all around. Makes it more even.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of we're not used to maybe as many of the afternoon games. I think that's definitely a factor. So the sun's definitely beating down, but I also do feel there's an aspect where it's you're seeing the German teams just not actually go out onto the field. So there's a lot more just media coverage of it than during a typical MLS season where you just kind of deal with it. MLS teams are playing in Houston all year, and during June, July, August, it's brutal down there. So I think MLS fans have kind of acclimated to that, whereas the German fans specifically, I'm highlighting them because they're not even going out onto the field, but they're just not quite acclimated to it. So I think there's just more media coverage of it as well.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, I think also from a city perspective, Charlotte's really getting put on the map. We've talked about this before, but a couple of years ago, right? If MLS would have started in Charlotte in 2017, I feel we could have had a chance at a World Cup match here,
For sure. Yeah, we would have definitely been one of the teams that they would have chose, or at least had a chance to play within the Club World Cup, because we bring in fans. We average 33,000 people almost every home game. It's gonna happen.
100%. Let's touch a little bit on this Chelsea-Benfica match then that's about to happen, right? Sure. I mean, Benfica surprised everyone, I think, by beating Bayern Munich.
Surprised me.
1-0, right? Because we all thought that it was going to be Bayern versus Chelsea here, but Benfica topped their group, Chelsea did okay, and so what are you expecting from this game, David?
Honestly, right now we got a new manager. It's kind of like a rebuild session. It's post Pochettino season right now. You know what I mean? So we're still like getting in it, but I think we're doing pretty good. I think like so far from what we've seen moments of brilliance. We've seen moments of brilliance from the manager as well. Last game against Tunis, his subs, the tactical changes that he did, they worked very well. And with a coach like this, Enzo Maresca, he's a coach that whatever you know about a 4-2-3-1, throw it out the window. That he doesn't play like that. We might start off as that, but you watch as the game goes on, that quickly will transition to a 3-2-5. He loves using them fullbacks as wingbacks. They're going to be up and down the field all day, and we're a very good counter-attacking team, which I feel like is going to be good against Benfica because they like to hold and like wait and choose to when they attack, but Chelsea does the same thing. So it's going to be a game of chess, but these guys are playing checkers.
Nice. And then we're looking at the Benfica side, Brian. Yeah. Top of their group, this is Di Maria's farewell tour as well. Yeah. What do you think from them?
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about in this match. I think during last weekend when it was Real Madrid, I was kind of excited to see Trent Alexander-Arnold. I know as a Liverpool fan, probably not so pumped about that, but seeing him make a debut with a new team, I think having those kind of moments in Charlotte is really cool, having like the new players come in, or for in this situation, Angel Di Maria making his farewell to kind of the European play and going back to his hometown club. So seeing that, I think that's definitely the highlight for me, is getting to see him play in his last competitive matches with a European club. And they're going to come with some fight. Right? They won a group where Bayern was going to be the heavy favorites.
Yep.
So at this point, they're gonna be ready to play ball and look to advance. And I think they're gonna feel like they're game for it.
Nice.
Being Bayern, that's a ton of momentum in Charlotte as well, right? So they've already won here.
Yeah. How much importance do you think these European teams are putting into this tournament? Because I guess now that it's getting closer to that, right? It feels like, okay, we should take this tournament serious now versus, there was so much complaint about it going into the match.
Yeah. I don't know how much the European side is taking it so serious, but I know, like, from a Liga MX standpoint, these guys were taking it super serious because if they were to win this Club World Cup, that's like winning the league for them 13 times. The amount of money that they get for winning this tournament, but like for a team like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Benfica, Chelsea, something like that might not be a lot of money for them. But I think now that they're progressing and getting deeper into the tournament, they're definitely taking it more serious.
And look at those Brazilian clubs, man. They're taking it super serious.
Absolutely.
Well, I think from a South America and Latin America perspective, they were always going to take it serious.
Absolutely.
It's the European sides that are like, hey, we just played 70 plus matches. That's why Infantino threw money at them, right? Nice. And we are here at Blinders, and we have a special guest from Blinders here. Larissa, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You excited to come on, talk a little soccer with us?
Sure. I always said I had a face for radios.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about this location. Obviously you guys have huge TVs. You're in South End, right? So talk to us a little bit about Blinders.
Yeah, so this is a family-owned business, which I love. I've been in the service industry for 12 years. It's nice when someone cares and has so much passion into their project. So my boss and his wife love to go to Vegas a lot, and they see sports books there all the time, obviously. So they wanted to bring a little bit of that Vegas flair into Charlotte, but also keep it like that Charlotte feel, and have a little bit more luxury and comfort with your sporting experience.
Yeah. One of the things I love is like there's no other place in Charlotte where you get such a huge TV, to watch matches. That's kind of cool.
We're the largest on the East Coast, outside of a stadium or casino.
And then you guys have been here for 4 months now, right?
Roughly, much, yeah.
We're 4 months.
We're new.
Yeah, but you guys are doing a lot of cool stuff here. So like people that are in South End soccer fans can start heading this way, and you guys will be playing matches and stuff.
Oh, all the time. Every sport that you can think of, we're going to play it. So we have a huge soccer following here in Charlotte, which I love. I love seeing that growth here, especially with the Ascent team kind of starting with us. So please come enjoy and watch at Blinders.
Nice. And then you've got some specials running today, right?
We do. We have some fun cocktails that are, dedicated to the whole thing. FIFA World Club Cup is such a huge new thing. Yeah. So we wanted to have some fun with that. Diageo brand helped us out with that. And then we've got some fun games outside.
Is there anything that you see from a soccer fan that you may not see from anybody else? Kind of putting you on the spot
No,
there.
I know that's a good question. The energy. I know that sounds
Okay.
crazy. Like football fans, there's energy, but
Yeah.
like going to a soccer game is such a new like experience. Like everyone's so excited.
Yeah.
There's so much more energy to it. You know, you're always standing up. You're never really sitting down during a game.
Okay. We got to teach you some of the Charlotte FC chants too, so you could come out there too.
I'll do it. I was a
Nice.
cheerleader once.
If you need some help, I know a guy.
Nice. He actually leads one of the chants as well.
Oh, that's
so, yeah,
great.
yeah. He's a capo at Charlotte FC.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody, stop by at Blinders. You know, huge TVs, and you guys will be playing the fight tonight as well, right? So
Yes. Always playing the fights.
Nice.
That's my wheelhouse.
Nice. Awesome.
Thanks,
Well, thank
guys.
you. Awesome. Awesome. All right, let's continue. Let's talk a little bit about Charlotte FC. You know, it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
The last two games, I said it online. I was like, it's felt Latanzio-esque, unfortunately. You know, and so, I mean, we've 2-1 the last minute in Philly, right?
Yeah.
And then 1-0 lead in Sporting case in Kansas, where you just had to close the game out, right?
Yeah.
1 or 2. Vargas misses 3 chances. Abada misses 1. Tokolomati misses 1.
Yeah.
Brian, talk to me about what we're watching at Charlotte FC.
Yeah, I keep seeing the comparison to Latanzio ball, but you know, Latanzio would bring out a third center back, and he would find a way to at least hold them down to a draw.
Yeah.
Right? We're not even holding the draw.
At least he knew how to
anymore.
park the bus.
Right? I mean, and I feel like that's one thing that Dean Smith got a lot of credit for with this group last year, was being able to suffer through the tough moments and find a way to scrape by and get a result when it was needed.
Right.
And we're not seeing that right now. We're seeing the team really just fall apart at the end.
Yeah.
And it's the lack of ability to suffer. Obviously, long term, suffering's not ideal. You want to be able to possess the ball, control games, but right now you're just trying to get through and get a point or two and build some momentum out of something. And right now they're
100%.
not even getting that done.
Yeah. David?
To me, I feel like it's just a little bit of lack of concentration, you
Yeah.
know, lack of focus towards the end, because, I mean, these guys, like we said, last season, we were a defense to be reckoned with. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This season, no. No, we're missing people. Nathan Burns out. We had Doumbia out. He just recently came back, and we saw moments of brilliance with him. I love the way he connected on the left-hand side with Wilfred Zaha all the way up to the goal. But honestly, I just feel like these guys ain't comfortable anymore, like in the
Yeah.
back. Like,
Do you think hitting the
solid.
top of the East was kind of like a curse for us? Because after that, it just kind of went downhill.
I think it's that. I think also maybe they felt like, yeah, like they maybe
Complacency.
were a little bit ahead of where they actually were, and now we're seeing all the other teams kind of catching up, right? I think a good example is just look at this last week, Wednesday. All the teams in the top of the East showed up after the bye week and got big results. Cincinnati put up a bunch of goals. Columbus Crew scored 3 goals against Atlanta in like the first 20 minutes, right? Nashville came from behind, and Sam Surge is now the Golden Boot leader. Like, a lot of these teams at the top of the East showed up after the bye week, well-rested, refocused, re-energized, and it just seemed like that wasn't quite there for Charlotte FC. Even when they were up 1-0 against a weaker SKC team, it didn't really seem like they were like comfortable the whole game. They definitely still gave up some chances. They were up 1-0, but it just didn't really seem like, when you're looking at where Charlotte FC should be and where
Yeah.
SKC is right now,
Yeah.
that should be a game, even on the road, you should be able to control and establish yourself as the clear favorite in that game.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they were the favorite on the books going into that game, and I just don't feel like we saw that.
How much of the blame, at least the last 2 games, do you put on the players versus Dean Smith?
Well, I mean, at some point you got to put it on Dean,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
I mean, after a certain amount of results, I mean, if you go have a game here or a game there, like so the 4-1 against Chicago, right? That's on the players. That was a complete
Yeah.
collapse in the second
Absolutely.
half, right? That's 30 minutes. It's clear the team just like lost their footing, lost their energy, lost their mentality. It was obvious to see. But after a streak of games, at some point it's on Dean, right? Like last year when they had 6 games winless. Eventually, it's on Dean to figure out the solution. Now,
Right.
last year he did, right? He switched Tim Ream to left back, found a way to kind of get BL further up the field, and they started winning games again. I think at this point, it's got to be on Dean. How do you find the kind of the evolution of this team to get this team back on track and getting the results they need to be doing? I mean, at some point, you can't just say it's the players every single week. At some point, either Dean's got to get the players to fight for him again or switch things up.
Right. So I like what you said. So I think the last 2 games especially, it's been more on the players.
Yeah.
Overall, I feel like it's been on Dean Smith, the stretch. Because, I mean, like, Vargas had 3 opportunities.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's fair.
Abada had 1. Toclomati had at some point, like, these guys have to produce on the pitch. Right?
Yeah.
And then the capitulation of the back line, especially in extra time, is what annoys me the most. Like, it's just a ball over the top that they can't figure out how to clear.
Yep.
Right? When you have the last 2 games especially, easily could have pulled 4 points. We've got nil.
And I don't know. I feel like these past 2 games, our defense has been easily readable. Like, I feel like teams are starting to realize we struggle with balls over the top. And I feel like once they saw that goal last week in Sporting Kansas, they did it right back. Same play right over again. They targeted Andrew Privet. He whiffed on the first one, and the second one, he just completely let it go by him. That's something that it's lack of focus, and we just need to tighten up a little bit more. Dean Smith is in a moment of chaos, and we need to turn it to a moment of control.
Yeah. How much it feels like people aren't happy with, those post-match pressers either, where, Dean's talking about, he felt like we should have won the game, but, something happened. Like, this weekend, the first goal was offsides, which, to be fair, I think he does have a point, but at some point, people have expectations of winning.
And it just doesn't matter anymore. Like, we're so far past that for me.
Right.
And I definitely I'll take full credit on this, and like I'm definitely pushing I would say a decent amount of that narrative, just because it's been a long time coming. I think he even was doing this back into last year a lot. Now they were getting the results, so it's like it kind of goes water under the bridge. But now the results aren't there, and it seems to me a lot more just like a combination of like excuses and just not having ideas. I think this is a reason the fan base got frustrated with Latanzio when he would keep saying, like, we're not Real Madrid, we're not Bayern. It's like, okay, well, just doesn't matter. You got to find results.
100%.
And at some point, like, for me, those pressers signify like just a lack of ideas on how to get this team forward, and like and being able to be public and transparent with what those ideas are. I think that's what the fan base could really use. And I think Westwood gave a little bit of that in his presser when he was kind of like, hey, we got to look back at ourselves, take responsibility, and move forward. I think even Bronico kind of did that. So maybe Dean is doing this behind closed doors, but I think it would also behoove him to do that in public a little bit better, where it's like, hey, these are the steps we are taking to get this team back on track. And I don't think we've quite seen that. Honestly, I don't think I've seen that from Dean enough.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that?
I just feel like with these pressers, it's been more like you just see Dean visibly frustrated rather than actually like explaining what happened. We saw a little bit more from Westwood being honest, saying like, hey, these guys need to step up. Yeah. It's just been like trying to cover them a little bit, like as a coach would, you know what I mean? Like you have to, you're protecting your players. But at a certain point, we don't buy into it because we know we had them chances. We had the chance to win the game. We had the game in the bag, but we just couldn't finish. And
the standards are set, right? It was a top 4 finish and trophies, and it looks like we're so far off that mark. It's like it's impossible to just justify the excuses anymore. It's just like, hey, what happened? Like, what's going on, and how are we going to fix this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's pretty telling, right? I think the expectations that we had, we always knew that we weren't going to, like, be a top team. Like, we're not a Columbus Crew yet, No. We're not like a finished product. We're like in that second tier, right? So we were expecting, okay, 4th, 5th, right? Yeah. But now we're in 9th, And I mean, we've got Chicago away tonight, right? Which they came to the bank and cooked us 4-1, right? So to me, it's more like, okay, how does he go back to the basics and get this team kind of like it was when he first came in, where, all right, let's just not let in goals and let's figure out how to get results, right? So it's going back to the basics because the results just haven't been it. And you can start feeling the frustration, not only from the fan base, but from the players and from him as well. Yeah. And honestly, I kind of like that there is pressure on Dean Smith a bit because, if you want to be a top club in MLS, there has to be expectations.
Yeah, for sure. There's got to be a standard. That's what all the other top coaches in MLS, especially with the packed Eastern Conference, they're all hitting expectations and having to exceed them. Nance is a great example. He lost Cucho Hernandez, maybe the best player in Columbus Crew history, during his longevity there. And he still found a way to get results and keep that team at the top of the East. So at some point, it just doesn't matter who's available, who's absent, who's injured, who's healthy, who's on international duty. It just, at some point, you got to find a way to get results. Philadelphia is another example of that. Half their team is missing, and they got results in Chicago, and then they beat Charlotte before the bye week. So at some point, you just got to keep getting results.
Right. The Ben Bender curse is real.
I'm just glad he didn't score on us.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Speaking about international, right? Patrick Agyemang, right, is with the U.S. men's national team right now. 5 goals in 9 matches. I mean, the pundits love him. The MLS influencers hate him, right? And so Tom Bogert posted yesterday that, there's an offer close to $8 million for him from Derby County, plus add-ons, which I'm like, listen, I love Pat. That's a lot of money for Patrick Agyemang, right? Yeah. And Charlotte hasn't said yes just yet. Like, Derby wanted to do the medical, and they said, hold on. So what kind of offers could we be seeing for Patrick Agyemang?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll definitely I was wrong about all this. I'll take responsibility for this as well. I didn't think there was going to be anywhere near this kind of size offer for Patrick Agyemang. I was thinking maybe $2 million, and I think maybe even in MLS. I didn't think the Euro interest was going to be this real.
Honestly.
What do you think has gone into that? Is it, that he's scoring with the U.S. men's national team?
100%. 100%. Because I don't think it was solely based off of Charlotte FC. Because Charlotte FC right now, it's like every other game he scores, and the hype train is real because he's our striker. But with the men's national team, like you said, 9 games, 5 goals, that's what you want to see, man. That's consistency. That you love to see that. So the hype train is for real.
And the finishing with both feet, I think, is the other big thing. Just the fact that he can finish a shot multiple ways, multiple angles, tight spaces, and there's just certain attributes to his game that are hard to defend. Right? We've talked about it in the past. His speed, his physicality, his ability to get in behind. When he's 1v1, he's an extreme problem. And so I think those kind of things are attractive. I still don't know about it being an $8 million deal. I think that's
plus add-ons.
But at the same time, right? Yeah, except plus add-ons. But I think it comes down to right place, right time. When you have Derby County, clearly this is close to a record signing for them. Right?
Yeah.
Their record, I looked it up on the way here. It was like 9 million euros or something. It's like their record deal, apparently, according to Transfermarkt. I mean, so this is close to, so this means that for them, this is like one of their top targets.
Right.
And so it also seems like not only was he one of their top targets, maybe Ipswich, one of these other teams in Championship, also viewed him as one of their top targets. So it's kind of just also a luck of the draw. If multiple teams have him as their top target, they start to inflate that dollar amount, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of is what happens.
Is Charlotte maybe in danger of, being a little too, like they're asking maybe for too much, right? Because, we saw that with Karol Swiderski a bit when there was an offer for 6.5 for him and they didn't take it, right? And then the value, his stock kind of plummeted a little bit and it was more difficult for him to go into Europe after that.
Yeah, I think the two advantages you have here is the signals are clear. The number is climbing quickly, and it's climbing early in the Euro transfer window. For me, that signals that these teams, again, have them close to the top of their target list, and they're willing to splash the cash to try to get the deal done. I actually wish Charlotte FC on the receiving end, when they're signing players, would be willing to do that a little bit more. When they have a top target,
100%.
just be willing to,
just pay the money.
Demand that they get that deal done. Right? Cincinnati did that with Dunkey, and look how it's working for them. Obviously, not always going to work. Atlanta, Latte Lot didn't work out for them. But when you have a top target, it's sometimes useful to just go for it and willing to just spend the money to get the deal done. And it seems like there's at least Derby County who's willing to do that, for the receiving end of Charlotte FC. So, I mean, at this point, I think early in the window, they have a good shot at getting it done. I mean, if they don't, this is on Zoran.
Yeah. So, a lot to go on. All right. Say they do get rid of Patrick Agyemang.
Yeah.
What kind of replacement are you looking for? Are you looking for that veteran striker? Are you looking for?
Are you talking about Jamie Vardy?
Are you looking for like a striker that's kind of in their prime, that's willing to come in to MLS? What are we looking for?
I would like an MLS experienced player
Yes.
or a veteran. Like a Jamie Vardy would be an option, but it's just somebody who's not going to be like, I need a preseason, I need all this stuff. You need somebody to win now.
100%.
Take control.
Yeah, you
Somebody
can't.
who's not scared. Somebody who's direct and willing to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These guys, I feel like they're a little timid. Like Idan, man. Like he gets in there, he works hard, but you see him, he doesn't last but 45 minutes. We need somebody who can handle the full 90 and take the game by the horns. Like they were like, anytime that ball gets to your feet, pass it to me. I want it. I want to be up there.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you say that, because he's had like a couple of Toklomati, a couple of injuries, like right after 45 minutes, tight hamstring or something. So something that they need to take a look at, because there's a player in there, you know. And I'm very big on Toklomati. So I mean, if we're getting 8 for Pat, the end product for Toklomati's got to be like 15.
Or Milanda. Like, I mean, that's the other.
That's a good point too.
Looking for the Milanda transfer as well, but. Yeah, I think, like you said, somebody who can go 90, somebody who can kind of really lead this team from the front, who has experience, who's been there, who's won things. I think that's another thing that this team is lacking. Players who have been there and done that.
100%.
I think that would be big. Honestly, I have, I mean, it's not a striker, but you can do some adjustments. But I have like a Joseph Paintsel on my list. Is it somebody who's a DP already? Maybe use that cash for, the new cash for rule, and take advantage of one of these other teams that's just their season's already done, right? Benteke at DC. I mean, I don't know if he's available, but I'm just saying, like, the cash transfer rule should change the game this summer, and teams that are out of it, those key players, should be looking to move on to better opportunities. And Charlotte should be able to present themselves like, hey, Benteke, you come here, play with a former teammate in Zaha, and get us across the line. Or a Paintsel, obviously a winger. You have to do some adjusting around with the rest of your lineup, but he just won the MLS Cup last year with LA Galaxy, right? And now they're in 15th. I'm just saying there could be opportunities available this summer where there's a team that's no longer in the running, that season's already wrapped up, and maybe those players are looking on, and maybe Charlotte FC can take advantage.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, like if you're gonna sell Pat and you still want to be ambitious in MLS, you gotta go for it, right?
100%.
And also, there's this added factor now that we're sitting in 9th. So even like it feels like playoffs are a little complicated. Obviously, we'll touch on this as well, but I mean, on the positive side, after the Chicago game, we got like 10 home matches in the next 2 months, right? So if we're gonna, the good thing is that we'll be at home to try to pull those results.
Yeah, and I feel like that might be key on like switching from chaos to control as Dean Smith needs it.
That's
because,
good,
like,
from chaos to control. I like that.
Yeah,
it's been known, even if Dean Smith hasn't been the coach, we're not a good team away from home. It's set in stone for some reason. Like, we're not good away from home. We can't finish games, but when we come to the bank, we are a fortress. Like, I guess it's the 12th man, the people in the stands that get them going. But I mean, I feel like this, 13 matches away from home has been detrimental to us. Huge. But I feel like we can turn it around with this. Because, in the MLS, bro, anybody can lose. The bottom team can be the top team at any moment. It can switch just like that, bro.
Yeah, nice. Let's touch a little bit on Chicago then. Obviously, tough match to go for Charlotte tonight. We went to Toronto and won, right? And it felt like, okay, maybe it could be a start of something, right? And it wasn't, right? Can tonight kind of be that, where it's a start of a win and then we have a whole bunch of home matches?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I was circling SKC as that game.
Yeah.
I thought SKC was going to be that game more than the Chicago game, and it didn't. And so that was kind of the letdown for me. So now I have way bigger question marks. I was pretty confident going into SKC because as hard as the road stretch has been, when Charlotte was playing a bad team on the road, they still got results.
Yeah.
Toronto and Montreal are good examples of that. Almost all the other teams they played were top teams.
Amen.
And so I was really confident going into SKC, just like, hey, when they have going up against a weaker team, they have showed up. And for them to let down against SKC, I have a lot of question marks now against Chicago. But the upside is Chicago have been horrible at home. They've only won one game in Chicago all season. Now, compare that to on the road, they've scored 28 goals in 10 road games. It's crazy the flip-flop Chicago is. They just are a good road team for some reason. And so Charlotte should see this as an opportunity, but Chicago will be like, hey, this is the opportunity for us to get our home form on track. So I think it could go either way.
Both teams are like, okay, these are winnable games.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of back and forth, but who knows, man? Charlotte has something to prove here because, like, they came to our house, whooped us. Now we got to go over there and do the same.
And honestly, I think there's certain players that have something to prove, right?
Absolutely.
Abada has something to prove. Corwin Vargas has something to prove.
Amen, bro.
You know, Zaha's been on an upward trajectory, but we still need to see more from him as well, you know?
I feel like we'll see more from Zaha as we get more of a complete team. Like, before Nathan Byrne got hurt, we were killing that right-hand side.
Yeah.
Our attacking side was great because we were full. It was like they connected well, and the players were in the right position. Last game, we saw it against KC, that Doumbia, Wilfred Zaha connected with Idan for the goal. And I think we'll see a little bit more of that as Doumbia gets in it. It was sad that he got injured the first game in, you know what I mean? We lost him for a little bit. But I feel like as we get more complete as a team, have players playing where they actually need to play, we'll see more results and we'll see more goals coming in as well. And you just saw Zaha. He played more comfortably.
Yeah, I definitely think you highlighted all the key attackers. They've got to get goals. Chicago is not a good defense, so if they've got to show up in this one and at least put a couple away and show that they're going to be willing to lead this team. And if the defense lets in a couple, all right. But like, you want to see your leaders, the guys who are supposed to be leading this group, the Wilfred Zahas, the Abadas, the Biels, show up in a matchup where they should be favored
100%.
And get the job done.
And I feel like the Pep Biel, the hype train has died down a little bit.
Yeah, it has. And he needs to start producing more as well. But, I mean, also we highlighted the attackers, but, I mean, I need an improvement from Andrew Privet and Malanda as well, right? I mean, we cannot be giving up these type of goals, especially last minute. Especially, I know they're still young, but they've had so many games together as well, you know? And so, you know, the back line needs to improve. Kalina needs to get back to being the Kalina that we once knew he was as well.
Goalkeeper of the year, man. What happened to that?
Yeah.
What happened to that?
That knock might have changed everything.
And honestly, I don't blame Dean Smith for changing the starting 11 and giving Bingham a chance because he's a great goalkeeper. We have good goalkeepers in the bag, but honestly, what does that do to a goalkeeper that comes off of such a good season being goalkeeper of the year? Now he's having a kid, and then you get benched for 2 games straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Based off your performances, how does that impact a goalkeeper like Christian Kalina?
Yeah, I think it was a good thing in terms of Dean Smith telling him, hey, nobody's irreplaceable in this team.
Amen.
If you're not performing, right, like, you need to get on it. So I liked it, you know. I think that's a bold move to make as a coach, right? Now we just have to see Kalina kind of live up to that expectation as well.
Yeah, now we also just haven't touched on the midfield. I think we also need to touch on them too.
Yeah, that's
they
a good
have
point.
not controlled games well at all. I think Westwood, this is an important game for him. He scored last time they were in Chicago to get them the winner on a free kick last season. Beautiful. I think it's an important game for him to just be lead from the front as the captain. Maybe not necessarily get the goal, but just show the energy, show the willingness to run, like we saw last year, showing
100%.
the willingness to get forward and help create things in the attacking third. Again, the best I've ever seen Charlotte play is those 2 road games when Westwood showed up in Columbus and in Cincinnati. And I just feel like we have missed that for too long now.
Setting by example.
Westwood is, for me, still the ceiling of this team. And I think whenever that Westwood turns it around, this team as a whole can turn it around. And I think so that, for me, actually, out of all the other players we've mentioned, Westwood is probably the most key.
Yeah, which, I mean, if he is, right, and he's not performing like you said, then it's a problem, you know, and so Dean's got some solutions to find. Hopefully, we can pull a result tonight. Can we get some score prediction from you guys?
I'm going to say we draw 2-2.
Who's scoring for you?
I'm going to say we get a goal from Biel and Zaha.
Okay.
Nice. I was going to go over the big score line, too. 3-3. 3-3. 3-3. I don't think there's going to be much defense in this one. I think there's going to be a lot of goals both ways. I think Biel gets one on track. I think Zaha, and I'll give another one to Toklamati. That flick he had in the last game was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Awesome. I'm going to go with a 2-2.
All right.
a Bada goal out of all of them.
Oh my God. You're predicting a Bada goal. Who would have
Yeah,
thought?
so a Bada goal, and then I'll go with a Toklomati goal. But it'll be a 2-2 because it just feels like this team, like there's something missing, something not clicking, and I don't think we see it this game. Hopefully we see it in those home matches.
Yeah.
With that said, episode 33 of the Top Bin 90 podcast. David, where can we find you at?
You can catch me at CLTFC Yeti Clan.
Yes,
anything
sir.
Charlotte, possibly Chelsea FC today. So stay tuned.
Nice, Brian.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Bam 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 Mauer Media.
Jorge Gonzalez, Top Bin 90. You guys have a good one.
Heck